He has his own half-hour comedy special. He's from Canada and now lives in New York. Please welcome Adam Pateman.
I went to the sex shop and they had a whole wall that was covered in lube. Oh, no, not like, oh, like a slippery wall. Not like that. No. Like, let me get this straight. There was shelves on a wall with bottles of lubes on the shelf, and they were for sale. All right. Okay, and then one of the bottles of lube said, in fine print, it said, sugar-free. Weird. Because my question for you guys is, who's that for? Because if you need sugar-free lube, you gotta be one of two things. You gotta either be a really hardcore diabetic, or a really hardcore slut. Because if you realize that you're gaining weight, from all the sugary lube you're ingesting, you might be ingesting too much lube. And I can't picture some girl in a room late at night in front of a mirror being like, Jesus, I don't get it. I mean, I exercise and I don't eat any sweets and I'm on the Atkins thing and oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's all those sugary lubed up wieners I've been sucking. It's not happening. I overheard a woman say this the other day. She was reading the paper and she looked really upset. And she went, "Oh, that's bull S." What? I'm guessing what happened is she read something and she wanted to say, "Oh, that's bullshit," but she didn't want to be bad. But she also didn't want to say, "Oh, that's BS," because that's too tame. So she met it halfway. That's bull S, which is a good move. I think I'm going to do that. Although, it would have made me happier, though, if she had just, like, switched it around a little bit. And she said, "Oh, that's B shit." I think that it would have been better. Because B shit could mean two things. It could mean, I'm censoring the word bull. I don't want to say bull, but I do want to say shit. Or it could mean that she's talking about the shit from a bee. Because bullshit, that's a big deal. That's a big shit. But a bee shit, that's just honey. So, it's not a big deal. It's a good way to go. Good job, lady on the train. This is a fun thing that you guys can try out if you want. I like to do this. If I'm sitting in a living room and I'm trying to talk to somebody else in my house, I like to just say their name, say some real stuff, like yell it out to them, but also just say a bunch of gibberish that sounds like real words. And then every time they get me to repeat it, I get more and more angry at them. Let me give you an example. It's like, "Hey, Kevin! Yeah? On Thursday, do you want to roast a liquor and Mr. Laminotes?" What? You want to roast Laminotes on Thursday? And then they finally get in the room and they're just like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. Can you just repeat that one more time? I'm so sorry. I'm having so much trouble hearing you." Do you want a really keep a dollar on Malaritos on Thursday? And it's also a really good way to lose friends. So, word to the wise, that's for you guys to know. I was flying out here. I came from New York. I was coming to Appleton, of course, but I had a stopover in Detroit. Did you know that they have a buffet in the Detroit airport? It's pretty good, actually. But this is the thing. It was so weird. I was standing in line, and they had all the food laid out, but they had a sneeze guard over all the food. And there was a heat lamp on the sneeze guard that had a sign on it that said, "Caution, hot surface, do not touch. Is everything okay back there? ADD. Anyways, caution, hot surface, do not touch. But underneath that was another sign that said the same thing, but in Braille. What? You would think that the fact that it's a hot surface would be Braille enough for the blind. It's like, I think a blind person's gonna come across a bumpy sign and be like, oh, what does this say? Ow, 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 ow. That is hot right there. Thank you, sign. I'm gonna leave you guys with this question. How many people here in this room currently, by a round of applause, are in love? That's sweet. That's sweet. The reason I like to ask that question to a group of people is because it's super awkward. Because you know what you had to do just there, right? You have to check with the person you're sitting next to before you clap. Or don't clap. You gotta be like, yeah, I am as ooh. Yeah. So I just caused a lot of very awkward car rides home. And you're welcome. The reason I like to ask too is like, my friend was like, well, how do you know when you're in love? It's a weird question. And it's true. Like, how do you know? And for me, I think that you can equate love with lobster. Hear me out. Because like lobster with love, you gotta put work into it, man. You gotta get your hands in there. You gotta break that exoskeleton. You gotta get to the meat that's inside. And there's not a lot of meat that's in there, folks. So you gotta savor every moment. And it's expensive. And when you're done, you're like, that's it? And it's never quite enough, is it? And you look around the room and everybody's still eating their lobster and they're so happy. And then you're sitting there all alone with your bib still on, all sad. And on the menu it said like $20, and that's a big commitment. But sometimes you luck out and you'll go to a place where it says lobster, $3.95. And you're like, that's a great deal for lobster. I'm getting the lobster. And then you get it and you realize why it was only $3.95. You know why? It's because it wasn't even lobster. It was imitation. It was pollock. It was some kind of knockoff. And it was just a hand job in the back of a greyhound. And that's not the same. And some people are allergic to lobster, and they'll go through their whole lives without knowing what lobster tastes like. And they're like, oh, none for me, thanks. Don't worry about it. I can't. But you know that they're dead inside. And maybe you're like me, where you will take one bite of that lobster and you will say, this is fantastic. I've never had anything better. And you take that lobster, and then you dip it in that butter, and then the lobster's like, you're smothering me! And then it stops returning your text messages, and then it deletes you on Facebook, and then it burns a bunch of pictures of you at a costume party in 2006, and then you're back to square one, eating shrimp late at night in your room with a laptop on your chest and a discarded sock in the other hand, and all your friends are like, don't worry, Adam, there's other crustaceans in the sea, and you're like, you don't understand! This was lobster! I'm not gonna go out there and have any old kind of seafood! I can get crabs! So it's the same. Thanks very much, guys. That is it for me. I'm gonna bring up Tracy. I do have CDs for sale at the end of the show, but I'll see you later.
Keep it going for Adam Pateman, everybody. Let's let him hear it.